Tom Clark's Main Event is a Boink Studios production. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Boink Studios, and check us out on boinkstudios.com, where you can see all of our projects, past, present, and future. And now, on with the show.
This is Daddy's show. Step off.
Hey, what is up? Welcome back to the program, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tom Clark, and this is Tom Clark's Main Event. We're back once again here on Facebook Live. Glad you are with us. We're also recording today. The show will post on YouTube, as well as Apple Podcasts and iHeartRadio. Subscribe and download today, and please follow the Tom Clark's Main Event Facebook page for more content, as well as our Patreon page. This is episode number 173, and yes, we're moving right along here on Facebook Live. We want to thank everyone for joining us here, of course, and for coming back each and every week. Much thanks to Heidi, Ryan, and the whole crew at Wrestling Rumors for giving us this platform. We do greatly appreciate it. So episode number 172 was WrestleMania Rewritten. We talked about the show of shows coming tomorrow, actually, and the nightmare it's been in terms of creative. This week, we're back to more of the same as we all continue to get through this difficult time together. This time, the main event is WrestleMania weekend. There we go, folks. There's your intro. I've been doing things a little bit differently here here on the show. I wanted to record the intro right as I went live today on Facebook, so I've got that out of the way. How's everyone doing out there today in Facebook land? Hope everyone is doing safe, doing well. There we go. Being safe and staying healthy. Everyone's just now checking in. Hello to every one of you talking to me right now. I do very much appreciate you guys once again watching. It is getting bad out there for sure. It's getting bad here in North Carolina as well, Shane. Please be safe in Tennessee. DeMarco, same to you, my friend. Everyone be safe out there for sure. James, I stay in as much as I can, brother, but I have a civilian job that requires me to be an essential worker. So 5 days a week, I'm not at home being safe. I'm out amongst the public, and I don't like it, but it is what it is. And, you know, that's there you go. Carlos says they pre-tape WrestleMania. Do you know the outcomes? No, Carlos, and if I did, I wouldn't give them to you anyway. I don't much care for spoilers, to be honest with you. I'm not a spoilery kind of guy. Let's just all watch together and see how it all goes. Barry doing... It has been a while, Barry. Thanks for coming back. Will says, I'm back out of my 30-day sentence in Facebook jail. Will must have said something naughty to get locked out of Facebook, because you can basically say whatever you want to on this platform, and people just let you roll. So, hello, Sandy in Germany as well. As always, Jason, what's up, my friend? Am I ready for WrestleMania? Here's my face. For those of you listening and can't see it, it's a look of mediocrity. It's a look of indifference. That's kind of where I'm at right now with WrestleMania. I believe this show shouldn't be happening this weekend. I think it's a waste of time. I get what they're trying to do, but everything leading up to this has been a train wreck. I don't believe that anything that we'll see Saturday and Sunday will be anything less than a train wreck. No disrespect to the talent involved. All the men and women on the roster will surely step up to do their best to entertain and to make everything fun to watch, but we will see what happens. So there you go. What's up, John? How are you, my friend? Yep. They say the reason to be watching WrestleMania is because of being in lockdown at home. Yeah, it's you're right, the heart of it. But listen, man, as we've said before in the past 2 weeks, if you're anxious for pro wrestling content with the live, or not the live crowd, but with the audience, dude, there's plenty of good stuff to go watch. You know, classic events, classic shows, not just WWE. You guys know that. There's New Japan, there's AEW, there's the NWA, old school NWA. There's AWA, if you want to go back, World Class Championship Wrestling, Mid-South, Championship Wrestling from Florida. There's all kinds of stuff. So there you go. Yeah, so Earl has already... Hello, Montrese. Welcome back. Montrese is talking about... Earl is talking about the Fox Now thing. WWE is determined to take the WWE Network, the whole concept of the network, and throw it right back in your face, folks. That's what they do. Vince McMahon is running this thing blindfolded. I don't know what else to tell you. I don't have anything invested in this. It's not my company. Whether WWE succeeds or fails, does it affect me personally? Sure. In terms of what I write about and podcast about and whatever. But at the same time, it's their company. It's his company. Let him do what he wants to do. If he wants to run it in the ground, let him run it in the ground. It's up to him. I don't have anything invested in this at all. There's all kinds of stuff going on. He's not pulling events, but wanting to pull WrestleMania and other events. The whole draw of the WWE Network was to get these events for $10 a month, okay, and to get access to all their library. The library they've bought from other companies when they shut down other territories and they shut down other companies and bought other promotions, bought other libraries to get access to these things. They're sitting on more than they've not released. They pick and choose what they want to put on for whatever reason they do it. And now they're talking about, filtering the pay-per-views out to streaming services and making you pay $50 a pop. Let me just tell you this. If WrestleMania were not included this weekend on the WWE Network, yours truly would not be watching. I'm not paying $50 for a show. It's not happening unless it's AEW. And the reason I say that is because AEW does not have a streaming service dedicated just to their product. If and when that moment comes and their pay-per-views are included, I will, of course, pay the monthly streaming service fee to watch their programs. But that's just where my head's at. I feel like I get more out of an AEW show than I do WWE show. It's just my own opinion. You guys can take that or leave it. Do with it as you will. Troy's saying Punk might be there. Dude, I don't know. I mean, why would Punk want to show up and put his wife in danger and his family? I mean, come on. I mean, anything could happen, right? But come on, dude. I mean, we'll see what happens. A lot of guys talking right now. Do you think Dusty Rhodes would disrespect Vince McMahon, making him wear the... Man, Shane's really going old school here. I think when Vince McMahon looked at Dusty Rhodes, he saw the guy that booked opposite of him all those years. And yes, I absolutely believe it was a statement by Vince McMahon, the WWE, against Jim Crockett. I don't know if it was a statement against Vince or against Dusty personally, but I think it was a statement against Jim Crockett. It's a shame. He had no business doing that. But you know what? Dusty, as far as we know, had fun. He took it with a grain of salt. He made some money doing it. Can't begrudge a guy for making money. That was not the Dusty Rhodes I grew up with, not the Dusty Rhodes that I admired, and not the Dusty Rhodes that I praise today as being one of the best this industry's ever seen. It's just not who he is, not who he was. And yeah, I don't. It's not the Dusty Rhodes I choose to remember. And listen, if any of you guys grew up with the polka dot Dusty, please get that garbage out of your head and go enjoy his real work in Jim Crockett Promotions. I implore you to do so. Because trust me, brother, you're missing out for sure if you're not familiar with that. Let's see. Yep, Trent versus Kenny Omega was good on Dynamite. It was very well worth watching for sure. Hello, Alma. What's up with you? How's everything going? I hope everyone out there, again, is staying safe. We've talked about this a lot. There's craziness out there in the world today. And got to stay hydrated, folks. Yeah, man, it's crazy times out there. A girl I went to high school with, and I say the word girl because in my mind she's still the teenager I went to high school with because I haven't seen her in years, passed away Monday. She got it Saturday night, and I actually dated her a couple of times. It was never anything serious. It never got very far. But took her out a couple of times, I should say. And she was the best kind of person. And the scary part is she had no pre-existing conditions. She was healthy. And she's gone now with 48 hours after she got it. It's terrifying. I don't know what to tell you. As I said before, I'm an essential worker. And I'm out of my house 5 days a week amongst the public. And it terrifies me. I'm scared of bringing something home to my wife and my kid. I'm not going to see my mom and my stepdad right now. They're an hour away from me in another town. I just can't. I can't do it. I've not seen my niece and nephew in a while. I just can't do it. My niece's birthday is Sunday. I can't do it. It's too dangerous for her. So yeah, these things will wait, and they will have to wait because we need to all stay safe. I'm taking this thing very seriously. So there you go. People are talking about Goldberg and Strowman and all this stuff. The stream is pretty much about promoting AEW and run WWE underground. Troy, my friend, it looks like you're new to the show. You don't know my show. If you're here to spread negativity, I'm not having it. You can go find somewhere else to watch. No, all due respect. If you don't know anything about this show, obviously you don't, then don't run your mouth. If you have a question, ask the question. Okay? If you want to ask me, Tom, are you anti-WWE? I will answer. In the meantime, I'm not going to justify your little opinion, which is, by the way, nonsense. Okay? I've been doing this for 7 years on this podcast. We're 173 episodes in. If you got a question, please feel free to ask me a question. You've been watching for 10 minutes? You know nothing about this show. Okay? Straight up. Jeff, yeah, man. It's like we said, it's dangerous out there. You got to be safe. Got to be safe. It's a tough time, man, for sure. Robbie, I have heard about the TNT title. I don't know that I've ever seen a network get its own championship. It's kind of weird. I don't know where they're coming from with this. It's kind of an odd thing. I'll be interested to see what they do with it. I don't know. Why not do an American championship or a not a cruiserweight, but you know, the television. Well, of course, NWA did the World Television Championship. They brought it back, right? But I guess the TNT Championship. I mean, I guess it's fine. I don't know. It's different. I have to wait and see how that plays out. Orlando says it's hard to follow AEW because I work overnight. Wish I could watch it. Yeah, I hear you there. Mike, a lot of people can be anti-WWE. It doesn't mean you're anti-pro wrestling, Mike. Don't get me wrong here. People can be anti whatever company they want. It doesn't mean they're anti-pro wrestling. They just get frustrated at things that company does because there's a lot of ridiculousness coming out of that company. Not a lot of silliness coming out of other companies, but WWE is a primary culprit in matters like that. You know what I mean? They really are. Troy, that's your opinion of what I'm doing. I'm not going to justify your comments anymore. If you have a question and you want to comment, you want to debate, I'm up for debate with your little smiley face. That's cute. Your opinion of what I'm doing. I've got 172 more shows. You feel free to go listen to them. They're free of charge. You know what I mean? There's no sense in being like that. There's no point in that at all. Come on, man. Yeah. Just because I don't say anything doesn't mean I don't watch. So you've been watching for 100. Great. You know my whole catalog, brother. You're a dedicated fan. Thanks for hanging out. That's good of you. So, yeah. Listen, I don't shut down anybody. If anybody's got anything to say, hit me. I'm all ears. I have said from day one, I'm not anti-anybody. I am for the talent, okay? That's who I support. I don't support any company. It doesn't mean I want to see that company fail. Let's get that out of the way right now. Impact Wrestling is hard to watch, okay? I covered Impact Wrestling for 3 straight months, and I couldn't do it anymore. It's so hard to watch. They put people on TV that got no business being on TV, in my humble opinion, my humble estimation, all right? It doesn't mean I want to see them fail. I don't want to see them go under. AEW is just getting started, really, and they're gaining momentum. I don't want to see them fail. I don't want to see New Japan fail. And no, I don't want to see WWE fail. But that does not mean I have to agree with all the content. It does not mean I have to be happy with everything they spoon feed me, because I won't. Listen, there's a big difference between creative and the wrestlers themselves when the wrestlers themselves are not allowed to be creative, okay? When you have one dude calling all the shots and they physically hand you a paper of lines to say as if you're an actor, I got a problem with that. Now, everybody on the planet can tell me about all of Vince McMahon's past victories and how brilliant he is, and I won't argue any of that stuff. But if you look there today and tell me that WWE is doing everything right, if you believe that, brother, go with God. I have nothing more to say about that because that's your opinion. There's a lot of other people who believe that they are running it into the ground, okay? And if you don't want to believe, dude, it's perfectly fine. I'm open to whatever opinion you have. But for you to sit there and say to me that I'm anti-whatever, dude, whatever. I'm not going to waste any more time on that. So there you go. Who else we got? Earl, I'm good, brother. Thank you, Earl. It's all good, man. Yeah. Mike says, I'm just upset with WWE because they have the monopoly on so many wrestlers. And all right, Mike makes a good point. They collect pro wrestlers. Who told you that 6 months ago? Me? I'm sure you got it from other places too. I'm not, who am I, right? But dude, 6 months ago I told you they're collecting wrestlers. A year ago I told you that. It's the straight up truth. They collect wrestlers, okay? They collect them. Because, Troy, watch your language. Let's be adults here. Can we do that, please? Watch your language. Grow up, okay? Can you do that for me? Make your point without cursing. Let's see if you're good enough to do that. How's that sound? All right? Yeah, I told you a year ago that WWE collects talents. You want to know why? They don't want them going to AEW or New Japan. On one hand, I can tell you that I'm okay with it, and I can understand why they do it. But here's the deal. If you collect all these talents, have something to do with them. Have a plan. They don't have a plan. They don't have a plan for anybody. They got a plan for the handful of guys at the top. They don't have anything for anybody else. Punk told you that when he left. Because at the time, they only had plans for John Cena. Remember he said that? We all knew that already. And every conversation, every creative meeting revolved around Cena. What's next for Cena? It's the same thing now. What's next for Brock? What's next for Roman? I mean, maybe Seth, all right? But, listen, again, if that's how they want to do business, that's fine. But it does not mean that you personally have to love it or hate it. It's just in how you take it, how it hits you on a certain day. If you're happy with what you're watching and you're pro WWE, go with God. If you're anti WWE, relax and just understand that this is the same company who existed during the Attitude Era. Okay, it's the same company that made you smile once upon a time, and it doesn't mean they're no longer capable of doing that. It just means that priorities get mixed up sometimes. Okay, and listen, they got the priorities in the wrong place, in my opinion. You don't have to listen to me. You know what the good part is? If you don't like my viewpoint, you can always go somewhere else. But I've never bashed anybody here on the show. I don't do that, okay? And if anybody tells you I did, they're just dishonest. So, I don't know what else to say about it. So, oh, no, I'm not psychic, Jason. Don't give me too much credit, man. I'm just calling it like I see it. So, yeah, Jeff, same here. I don't wish ill will toward anyone. For sure. I just don't do that. There's no point in it. Guys, you want to run down the WrestleMania 36 card real quick? Because we can totally do that. My God, there's a lot of matches here. Like I knew there was, but holy cow, dude. All right, let's start. The WWE Women's Tag Team Championship match, the Kabuki Warriors, still should have been the Kabuki Girls. That would have been perfect, but whatever. Versus Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Otis versus Dolph Ziggler. Aleister Black versus Bobby Lashley. Elias versus King Corbin. The Raw Tag Team Champions, Street Profits versus Austin Theory and Angel Garza. I love me some Austin Theory. I love that he's getting a chance here. SmackDown Tag Team Championships, The Miz and Morrison versus the Usos versus the New Day. Keep in mind, a lot of this will be changing, as a lot of things have changed during the tapings and whatnot. So all the information we've been getting. Intercontinental Champion Sami Zayn versus Daniel Bryan. There's basically half the card right there. That's a lot of stuff to filter through, man. Will says hot garbage. There you go. Scotty says, hello, Scotty, have you watched before? I don't recognize your name, man. Do you think the heat between Cornette and Russo at this point could be a work because they keep... No, I think it's a work at all. I think Jim absolutely hates his guts, for sure. Nathan says, what's up, Nate? Nate Dogg in the house. What was your take on Jake Snake's comments on Brett and Sean? Seem to be something else. Yeah, I'll be honest with you, man, on Jake, man. He's got his own agenda. Maybe agenda is the wrong word. I don't mean that to say that he's up to something. Maybe he is. Maybe he is. He's got his own emotions, got his own feelings about the whole thing. You can't really discredit a guy that's in the business, no matter what you may think of. Not you, but whatever. No matter what anybody might think of him personally. At the same time, you can't discredit what he's got to say. I mean, it doesn't mean you have to listen, but at the same time, it's. Jake's Jake, and no one's going to put thoughts into his head or words into his mouth. That's what he is going to be himself no matter what happens, no matter what company he's working for sure. AEW's signed a very interesting figure with Jake Roberts, and I love the fact that he's still on TV doing his thing for sure. Nate, good point. Nothing with Cornette is a work at this point. He's lived a shoot for 35 plus years. Absolutely right. Let's see. We think Shane is done wrestling or getting back in the ring. Nathan, let's hope that Shane is done wrestling. Everyone say hello to the boy. Say hello. That's all you got? That sucks.
I'm tired.
What are you tired from?
I've stayed up all night.
Stayed up all night. The kid's out of school, and this is what happens.
Well, that's what I like to do.
Yeah, well, now he's off camera. But anyway, that's my son, if you guys have never watched the show before.
Hey, dog.
Christopher says, hi, boy. That's the boy, by the way. Yes, Nathan says hello.
Hi.
Right, there you go. They're all saying hey, by the way. Yep. He's been quarantined when he doesn't have to go to the babysitters. So, it is what it is. But as I said before, man, we're all trying to stay safe and healthy and all that good stuff. So, Joe Scotty says, as Jake would say, trust me. Yeah, good stuff. Patina says, I can't stay up all night. Boy, I can. I shouldn't, but I can. Even at my advanced age. Everyone's still saying hello to you, by the way. Maybe Jake could save Jim, I don't know if AEW needs saving. I think they're doing fine. I have no hate on Shane. Shane's not a wrestler. Okay, Shane has two kinds of punches. One is a working punch that is this far from your head. The other one is a potato that freaking takes your head off. Shane doesn't know how to work. In all these years, no one's took 5 minutes to show this guy how to develop a working punch. He doesn't know how to do it. I don't need to see Shane coming off top of the Hell in the Cell ever again. I didn't need to see it. I didn't need to see it twice. Okay? I don't need to ever see it again. I just don't. No hate. No hate. It's just I don't need him on my TV in the ring. That's just I just turn it. I'm entitled to that. I can just turn it. I just don't. It's not doing anything for me. I don't care that his last name's McMahon. It has nothing to do with that. It's not doing anything for me. Dude, it was a hard sell. It's a hard sell with him as a top heel. Just to be honest with you. So.
I got the Deadpool skin on Fortnite.
Did you?
Uh-huh.
Who are you telling, me or them?
You.
Oh, okay. Orlando says if TNA had a different network, I would watch it, and ROH had a great network, I would watch it. If Lucha Underground had another different... Well, Lucha's not running anymore, but I get where you're coming from. Well, listen, man, I would encourage you to check out the stuff streaming online. TNA has a streaming service, I think. You might want to check into it. ROH Honor Club is good stuff, man. I've been a subscriber to that for a couple of years. No, I don't know about Grimm's Toy Show. I've heard of it, but I've not watched it. I love MJF. MJF is fantastic. Can I say that because he's AEW? Is that going to hurt anyone's feelings? Sorry, Troy. You kind of set me up for that. I'm just saying. There's a lot of talent in WWE that I think are fantastic. Notice I didn't say the McMahon family is fantastic. Notice I didn't say the WWE brand is fantastic. I said the talent is fantastic. I don't think Tony Khan's the smartest guy in the business either. I just don't. This is my opinion, okay? I think he's got some good ideas, but I'm not saying that he's the second coming of Jim Crockett or anybody else for that matter. I'm not even suggesting that. But I love a lot of the talent in AEW. Some of them I don't care for too much. It's nothing personal. That's just how I roll. You know what I mean? I like the product. Am I in love with the product? Nah. I enjoy it. When WWE's firing on all cylinders, I enjoy WWE. But it's just tough. New Japan, I love New Japan. I'm not going to lie. I love the concept of it, and I love the fact that the focus is on the wrestling. It's not Showtime in New Japan. It is in a certain regard, but it takes place during the matches. You don't have to worry about backstage promos, long-winded vignettes. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. It's all wrestling. They may not agree with the style of wrestling because the whole idea of strong style suggests that anything else is fake pro wrestling. You see what I'm saying? Shouldn't all pro wrestling be strong style? Aren't you actually trying to win the match? So I get where they're coming from, trying to make it sound tougher, like a more of an MMA-based thing. But shouldn't all pro wrestling, if it were a shoot, shouldn't all pro wrestling be strong style? Do you see where I'm going with that? But I love that company. I'm straight up, man. Straight up. I'm not going to lie to you. Does it mean I agree with everything that their talents do? No. I don't need to see Naito dropped on his head again. I just don't need to see it. I don't need to see Ibushi dropped on his head or drop someone else on their head. I don't need to see it ever again. I don't want anyone to get hurt. Ever. It's just not. I'm not a NASCAR fan. No disrespect to a lot of you NASCAR people out there. But you know how many NASCAR fans I've heard in the past say I only watch for the wrecks? Y'all be ashamed of yourselves. Y'all be ashamed of yourselves. There's real men driving those cars. Okay? You could be killed in heartbeat. Heartbeat, man. So no, I don't watch for that. I watch because I love the sport. I've been dedicated to it, committed to it for years of my life, my whole life actually. I love the business. I love the sport. I don't like what it can be at times, but I love what it's done for me personally. Dusty Rhodes was my father figure growing up. My dad was killed when I was 4.5. I'll never see him again, okay? Dusty Rhodes became my father figure. He never knew it because I never got a chance to meet him. Never got a chance to tell him. I'd love to meet Cody so I could tell him that. I think it would mean something to me if I could physically tell him, listen, man, your dad was like my dad. And I appreciate him and I appreciate what you're doing because this is the truth. But I'm very connected to it. Pro wrestling's always been there. Any of you that grew up fans would know what I'm talking about for sure. If pro wrestling's always been there for you, that means it's been there through girlfriends or boyfriends, different jobs, different relationships, school, different environments at home, selling your house, buying a new house, kids, pets, everything. Pro wrestling's always there. That's the one constant. That's why I love the business, man. That's why I love it. Tom, what is your go-to snack for watching WrestleMania? Can I be honest with you? So they're frozen actually, but these cream cheese and cheddar poppers, TGI Fridays, red box. Shut up. They're amazing. They're so bad for you. And I don't have them very often because they're so bad for you. However, they are delicious. I'm not lying. Shane's a solid technical wrestler. Salvatore, first of all, I love your name. Salvatore Cavallaro. My apologies if I butchered it. Brother, if you think Shane's a solid technical wrestler, I got some beachfront property here in Roadhouse, North Carolina. I'm anxious to sell it to you dirt cheap. You may not get the Roadhouse reference if you're not from North Carolina. Hey, listen, it's your opinion. If that's your real opinion, go with God, my friend. It's your opinion. I won't bash you. I have not seen the new Jack documentary. I'd like to see it. I've just not watched it yet. Let's see. Chicken Undertaker appearing. I don't know if he could have done anything any differently. I don't think he. God, dude, with this guy. This guy's fun. I don't think Taker could have done anything any differently, to be honest with you. I don't think he could have. At this point, the whole entrance with the Undertaker thing where he's like dark and mysterious and he's like otherworldly, I don't think that works right now because of the environment that they're in. Do you know what I'm saying? I just don't think it works. Why not do the big evil thing like he did before with the biker gimmick and all that? Why not do it? I'm not going to curse, you know what I mean? But you know where I'm going with that. Why not do that? You know what I mean? I think it was fine. I think that promo was maybe one of the best promos I've ever heard him cut before. So I was impressed. He still got it. He can still talk. It's just his work in the ring. God bless him. I don't know that I need to see Undertaker in 2020. And again, if I don't want to see Undertaker in 2020, I don't have to watch. No one's forcing this stuff down my throat. It's my call whether or not to watch. Right? It's my deal. It's my opinion. So there you go. But I love Taker. I do love him. It's just a matter of, has the ship sailed? I don't know. I don't care for creative. As it typically tends to go. It's nothing against Taker or AJ, but I hate the idea of mentioning Taker's real name, mentioning his wife. He's a broken down old man, showing pictures of him and videos of him out of character. I don't agree with any of that. But that's just my own take. I think that you need to keep it, not keep the allure of it or keep the perception of the gimmick going, because I think that's probably over at this point. But you know. Keep the mystique there, or at least try to. Mentioning the guy's real name's not helping anybody do anything, in my opinion. Patina says, you miss Attitude Era. I hear you. Yeah, because they think they knew better, David. David said they don't let the wrestlers win because they think they knew better. Yeah, I'm happy for Lance Archer as well. I'm happy that he's finally getting a shot back stateside again and can really do his thing. The guy's very, very good. I have heard the Ryback rumor, Earl. I don't know if there's anything to it, for sure. But we'll see what happens. Troy, listen, are you splitting, Troy? I'm glad you're having fun. Listen, no one's freaking out. What I don't like is someone saying that I'm negative or that I'm anti anything. You never talk to me, Troy. If you have, I've never seen your name, okay? I have no problem debating anyone, but it's obvious that you have got your own viewpoint on this. You're convinced of who I am and what I do. It's all good. Go with God, brother. Have fun watching someone else's show. So, there you go. Come back. Come back anytime. It's all good with me, man. Let's see. AEW's issue is every match needs 10 finishers to finish a match. From your lips to the ears of God, my friend. No doubt about it. I'm with you. But let's be honest, that's the business in general these days. And I know that from working in a pro wrestling company behind the scenes. We were setting up for our second show in February, and some of the guys were in the ring working out for the show. We were 2-3 hours away from the show even starting, from doors even opening. And they were running these spots, and he started running the Kenny Omega spot where he points to the thing. He points to the other side, and he runs. I'm like, dude, stop. He says, what? And I said, dude, what are you doing? Like, you don't need to do that. Like, and plus the idea of, you know, the spot where, like, the guy runs past you, and you slap him on the back and let him run so he can bounce off the rope and come do something to you. It's one of the most unrealistic things I've ever seen in a pro wrestling ring. But yet that's the way the talent today thinks that you're supposed to work. And to that point, he told me, well, that's what the people want now. That's the style now. I said, that's the style because you guys have made it the style. It doesn't mean that's the style that's supposed to be there. It's the style that you've got people accustomed to. Does that mean it's the style you should do? If this were a real fight, you would never let the guy that you want to kill run away from you, would you? It's one thing if you're disoriented and you've got your back turned and he bounces off the ropes. You would never just let him run past you. You grab him by the hair. He goes, well, I'm a babyface. I wouldn't do that. I said, I totally get that. I totally get that. However, you know, grab him by the arm. Do something. You don't have to heel out necessarily, but just say, hey, clothesline him. Let him know you're not getting away from me that easily. I came here to get back at you and to even the odds, even the score. That's what I aim to do. See what I'm saying? It's a message. And all the finisher thing, I mean, that just feeds into it. That feeds into it. All these guys who are like all these finishers in a row. It's crazy. I agree totally. Michael says, people take wrestling too serious. I enjoy wrestling on all platforms from independent all the way up to WWE. Not always happy with what they put out, but always enjoy. And see, Michael's doing it the right way. Michael's taking something positive from it. I try to take something positive from every show I watch. And if I watch the worst Monday Night Raw I've ever seen, I will say, look, everybody gave forth maximum effort. Because I believe that they are. I don't think... There's very few times I've ever watched a show on this level where these guys are the elite, no pun intended. The elite, the top of their game. I've watched very few shows where I feel like they took a day off. I mean, it happens occasionally, maybe. But for the most part, they're all out there doing the best they can to get the show over, get their match over, get themselves over, and their opponents. So, all due respect to that, and I love that, actually. I'm down with that. That's what I enjoy. So, I'll say that for them. I've seen some of the worst gimmicks, some of the worst matches ever. We all have, right? But you can't take away from the work that people in the match put into it to get it over at all. You can't blame the effort for it at all. Hello, Brad, Minnesota. Go Vikes. I got to say it to you every time. Oh, well, we ran through half the card already. We're going to run through the other half here shortly. Tape should make Taker better. I'm not going to disagree with that at all. Let's see. Is Edge risking too much? That's up to him. I've said this before many, many times in the past, folks. What Edge chooses to do with his professional life and his personal life is completely up to him. That's totally his call. Is it okay for him to get back in the ring? That's between him and his doctor and his family. If they're comfortable with it and they've signed off on it, and evidently they have, go with God. What else can you say? It's not really up to me. When there were people online going, Edge, you should never come back. It's a bad idea. Think of your family. People had the nerve to tweet at Edge on Twitter and say, think of your children, Edge. And I'm like, who are you to tell Edge anything? You don't even know this guy on a personal level. It amazes me the guts that some people have sometimes, for lack of a better term. But yeah, it's crazy, man. Like it's his call. Is he risking too much? I can't answer that really. I mean, if WWE's doctors especially sign off on it, like I said, go with God. If that's what he wants to really do, it's up to him. We'll see how it all plays out. I mean, all the best to him. I hope he's okay. Be cool if you're right out on his chopper. Talking about Taker, I'd pay to see. Yeah, talking about I'd pay to see that. I am paying to see that. So we'll see. Should have canceled the whole thing. Brad, a lot of people agree with you. I'm of the opinion that maybe it should have been canceled or postponed. But like I said before, man, it's their company, their show. Miss Lopez is here. Hello, Miss Lopez. How are you today, my friend? Thank you so much for hanging out. Wilf got a snowstorm Tuesday. You're in Canada, aren't you, Wilf? Aren't you in Manitoba or Winnipeg? Crazy. Same with The Fiend. When they called him The Fiend, Bray Wyatt should have left him as two personas. Maybe. Taker as a grizzled old vet still trying to hold on makes more sense to me. Kyle, I'm not going to hate that. I don't hate that at all. Clint Eastwood, get off my lawn. Right? Right? Yeah, sure. I'll go with that. I don't hate that at all. If they did more of a Clint Eastwood approach to it, I would totally get that. Where you're like, what are you even fighting for anymore? Right? That's not bad. I like that. Pretty cool. Let's see. Leo says Becky's going to win. I don't know, man. We'll see. Be interesting to find out what happens. What's going to come of the Dark Order? Brody is cleaning house with them. The Dark Order is not what we all thought it was going to be honest with you. We all thought it was going to continue to be, and Brody was going to be this dark, mysterious figure. He's in a suit and tie in a boardroom. Isn't that fun? It's like he's going to run it like a corporation. It's the Vince McMahon thing. They're ripping on Vince. More power to him. I don't know if it's going to get him anywhere. I mean, remember when the VKM and Impact, the Voodoo Ken Mafia, which was Vincent Kenny McMahon's initials, was Billy Gunn and Road Dogg, right? We'll see if it gets him anywhere. I don't know if it will or not. Alan says if the world is back to normal, quote unquote, this summer, where do you see WWE going in regards to Tampa and a return to making up for a lost WrestleMania? I don't know. I think they just they make an all-out effort to make SummerSlam even bigger and better. If we're even out of the woods by then, we'll see what happens. Edge, we want to hear your opinions on Edge versus Orton, please. Look, I would much rather this match have taken place in front of fans. I think we all would. I think we all want our wrestling back. I know I do. Wrestling with the live audience, even though sometimes the live audience sucks because they try to hijack and do all the other silliness they try to do. But it is what it is. Would I rather have seen Edge versus Orton in front of a crowd? Absolutely. Would I rather have seen it in front of a real WrestleMania? Absolutely. It is what it is. I love both these guys. I've interviewed Randy here on the show. He was a great interview. A lot of fun doing that. We'll see what happens. Randy's all business all the time, and he's very good. When you back Randy into a corner, he's very good, man. He knows who he is as a person, as a character, as a man. He's very good at what he does. Edge getting back into it. People have asked me countless times before if Edge is going to continue. Supposedly he signed a year contract. That does not mean, however, that he's going to be in the ring for the next 12 months. It just means that he signed a contract. We'll see what the future holds for the rest of this year going into 2021. But I'm looking forward to the match. If that makes you feel better. I do like both guys. I always have. The only problem with everything being edited is you don't get the feeling of it being real and being live. And plus, the matches are going to be edited. If there's anything they didn't like, they're going to be chopping them down and taking out parts they didn't like. There's that to think about. You know what I mean? So it's going to be overproduced. WWE tends to overproduce everything. That's just who they are. Ryan says, if you think Goldberg beats Braun, do you think that will ruin the push that Braun will ever have? No, because honestly, man, he's got no push here. This is just a last-minute substitution. And if they haven't, listen, they ruined Braun a long time ago, in my humble estimation. And I know I've stated this opinion countless times before, millions of times if I have one time at all. But the fact is that Braun is a spoiler. That's what he is. He's not the guy carrying the belt. He's the guy in your way, in your path on your way to the belt. That's who he is, whether it's a heel or a face. That's his role. He plays it pretty well. That's what they want him to do. That's the character they want him to play, and he plays it. That's his role in that company. I don't know if he'll ever be anything more than that. Did he win the Universal Championship? We will wait and see. I don't know what they do with him after that, because I don't know if they know what they're doing with him after that. I think they've pigeonholed him, and this is who they believe he is, and they don't want to change horses midstream. Having said that, he could walk away with the title and beat Goldberg in 90 seconds. We'll see what happens. Nothing would surprise me. Nothing would surprise me at this point. No, I've not seen the thing. I've heard about the Gene Sinitsky thing. Him and who was it? Who was the other one that they did? The Diva. I can't remember. Hello, Dave. How are you, my friend? Thanks for hanging out. Robert, I think AEW is doing fine. Are they perfect? No. Are they doing everything right? No. But what's your definition of right? Are they where they need to be? I think they are where they need to be in terms of their own growth. I would like to see their characters fleshed out more. They do the backstage promos and vignettes very, very well. Recently the one to do with Moxley, where they interviewed Jericho and stuff, it was on this past Dynamite. It was very good. It was very good. Because they're good at that stuff. They need that for more of their... If you're going to be a top player and be on Dynamite, or be a player at all, you need something. Even if it's just a 30-second video. Because while the hardcore fans know who these guys and gals are, a lot of people don't know who they are. That's something to keep in mind. I think they're getting better at it, but at the same time, I think that there needs to be maybe a little bit more of an effort to get these guys and gals over. That'd be my primary complaint with them. Hello, Ray. How's it going? Will says Mania will suck so bad. Will Darby win the TNT belt? I think anything's possible. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Thank you, Michael. Michael, we're all good here. It's all good, brother. Thank you very much. All good. Who wins AJ Undertaker and why? I don't think you'll see Undertaker say goodbye on a stage in front of no fans. But at the same time, it's WWE, baby. They do what they want to do, right? So we thought the night he worked Roman and left his hat and coat in the ring and his gloves. For God's sake, he kissed his wife and then left and a puff of smoke and a hi-ho silver. Whatever. And then he came back. I'm just kidding. I was just kidding. I'm back. What? Why? You know? Tease, tease, tease. And here's what I've been told for a long time. He's not calling them, folks. They're calling him. Now, is there truth to that? I don't know. That's just the rumor. They're calling him. They want him back every time. I don't know, man. It's crazy. I'll say Taker goes over. My opinion. Do you think WWE will use the green screen to put the audience in the WrestleMania? Shane has won the no prize for this week. Shane, congratulations. Check your box because it's in the mail soon, my friend. That's awesome. Guess what? I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised. Green screen the crowd, baby. And they all look just like Baron Corbin. I don't know. Got some fun with that. It's good stuff. Yes, I think Darby could win the TNT belt. He's very fun to watch, yes. Matt is Matt, are you the Matt Jackson? The Matt Jackson? Welcome to the show, brother. I'm in the business as well, Matt. I can call you brother, right? Matt, be careful driving. Somewhere out there, Claire is hopefully listening. Actually, Claire got to watch last week because she's working from home right now. She didn't have to just listen in her car on the way home. Claire's in the UK. So, Claire, if you are around, hello, hello, how are you? If you said hello and I missed you, my apologies. I know, I'm sorry about the birds. I'm at the end of a cul-de-sac and my window's not soundproof. So I got trees out here and whatnot. Yeah, it's nature, baby. Soothing nature sounds. Brought to you by Tom Clark's Main Event. There you go. My apologies. My son and I do our own podcast, by the way. It's just a little something we've been doing for a while. It's called Tom Clark's 30-Minute Fun Show. If you enjoy listening to a dude and his kid hang out and drive in a car, then that's the show for you. But the first show we did was actually here in my office. And it was, I called it One Happy Bird. Because the entire episode, there was this bird going nuts outside the window, losing its mind. So there you go. I learned, Christopher asked me about Excalibur. I learned a lot more about Excalibur than I did know, because I haven't took the time to look into him. But the guy was one of the founders of Progress, not Progress, but PWG. I didn't know that. NB should have been inducted, both Dynamite Kid. Yes, I do believe Dynamite and Davey Boy both should have been inducted as the Bulldogs, Alan. I totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. Yes, it absolutely should have happened. Absolutely, top 10 greatest teams ever. I completely agree with you on that. I can't argue with anything you just said. I wouldn't be surprised if they give Baron Corbin both titles and say, here's God. Baron Corbin, the artist formerly known as Baron Corbin, is now known as God. Your Lord and Savior, Baron Corbin. It's not as bad as it used to be. It used to be pretty bad, remember? What do you think about Cody Hall, Scott Hall's son? Do you think what has happened to Cody, Scotty? Do you have some scoop on Cody? Because last time I saw him, he was in Bullet Club in New Japan. I haven't seen him since then. He's no longer in Japan that I know of. If he is, I don't know about it. It'd be interesting to do a little bit of research, see where he's going. He's big. He's a big kid. Maybe too big for his frame. Does that sound weird? He's awkward. But he'll, if the more training you have, the more matches you work, the more you'll grow into your own body, or you should. So hopefully this won't be a problem for him moving forward if he decides to pursue it full time. But we'll see what happens. No, I didn't hear about Paul Heyman dissing Chris Benoit. Dude, I've not even watched the Chris Benoit thing on Wrestling with Shadows. What is it? Dark Side of the Ring? Yeah. It's just not my bag. I don't have much more to say about Benoit. Somebody asked me a week or so ago, and I said, nah. It's hard for me to comment on that, dude. I just can't. Sebastian says, what's wrong with Baron? Well, Sebastian, how much time you got, brother? Says, I love Corbin. Hey, man, go with God. Hello, Angela. What will they do with this year's Hall of Fame class? Something about there's supposed to be a special push later in the year, and I think they might be hooking up with SummerSlam. That's the word. We'll see what happens. How about Big Show going in with NWO? That's not a bad idea, right? Yeah, why not? Oh, so Scotty says that Cody's been around independent circuit around Europe. Yep. So Hall of Fame is happening before SummerSlam. I heard it was being pushed close to it, but maybe not. I don't know, with the weekend or whatever. There's so much crap going around right now. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Yeah, that company changes horses midstream so many times. It's crazy. All right, folks, where do we leave off on the rundown of the card? Let's finish up the card. Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins, NXT Women's Champion Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair, SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley versus Sasha versus Lacey versus Tamina versus Naomi, Fatal 5-Way Elimination Match. Becky Lynch versus Shayna Baszler, Edge versus Orton Last Man Standing match, Cena versus The Fiend Bray Wyatt, Taker versus AJ, Goldberg versus Roman, Lesnar versus McIntyre. So there you go, folks. There's your WrestleMania card. Hello, JD. Welcome back to the show. So there's your WrestleMania card. Are you looking forward to anything particular on this card? Yes, Edge and Randy will be fun. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, man. Yeah. Am I ready for this show? It's whatever. I'd be more ready for it if it were, the big arena. If there's just, dude, I don't know. Like I said, it's their company. They can do with it what they want. I totally get why they felt the need to move forward. But listen, not for nothing. Every time you leave your house, you run the risk of something happening. I mean, that's true in any day and age, isn't it? I mean, you could just get hit by a bus any day of the week. Who knows? But I'm talking about now. The COVID thing, dude, it's a real deal. It's a real deal, man. I mean, you run the risk of you may have it right now and not even know it. And I don't think it's it's the Red Scare, or it's like being overprotective, or it's being going overboard at all. I mean, just ask the families of the grieving families today who lost someone, if they thought it was being too protective. Probably not. Probably didn't think that at all. A lot of people saying that Sasha. By the way, I got Colt Cabana on my TV right now. I love Colt. I know Colt does some of the comedy stuff that I can and cannot get into or whatever, but I love Colt. I just don't know how you cannot like Colt Cabana. He's just too fun. Taker and AJ and Edge versus Orton, or the highlights night 2 is the way to go. I agree with that. Orlando says, I'm looking forward to Becky Lynch versus Shayna Baszler, and I see Becky winning. Interesting. She may indeed win. I mean, like at this point, if you win the title at WrestleMania, is it like a tree falling in the woods? I know that's mean, but, I'm just thinking about how many people are not going to watch it this year. I mean, a lot of people are saying this thing's going to have epic turnout on the network. This thing's going to get over like gangbusters because everyone's at home. We'll see what happens. I could be dead wrong, and maybe that'll be exactly the case. We'll see, man. I'm interested to see what goes down with this. So, it'll be fun to see. I don't know. Shout out to all the cops, fire, medical staff, stores. You're the real heroes, Randy says. Randy, I'm an essential worker. I'm not a cop or a fireman, but yeah, I will second your emotion. Shout out to all the cops, firemen, medical staff. Medical staff putting themselves in harm's way every day, man. A lot of nurses and doctors actually getting this stuff for sure. So, Orlando says, I see Ronda Rousey confront Becky. You know what's funny is that last year, and if any of you guys were watching the show last year, you'll know this. I never I was never like, and I was never like against Ronda Rousey. In fact, if anything, I kind of had her back through this whole thing. I mean, I was one of the guys that actually said, you know, she just got there. She's doing great for someone that just got there and all this stuff. But then I watched the replay of the Joan Jett playing her out to the ring last year's Mania. And when she power walks to the ring, it's one of the most ridiculous, cartoonish things I've ever seen. At the time, I don't know if it felt like that at the time. It does now. I don't know if her run in WWE is going to hold up under close scrutiny. Years from now. I don't know if it's going to be like, you know, look at this. What are you doing? What were they thinking? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Maybe I'll be wrong and she'll be considered one of the best of all time in the women's division. I have no idea. But Vince wasn't sold on Shane. I hope she... Well, Christopher, that was the rumor, that he wasn't sold. We don't really know if that's the case or not. Anthony says, use the WWE 2K20 crowd. Anthony, so Shane beat you to the punch, man, and he suggested that they green screen the crowd in. I say do it. I've seen weirder things from that company, man. For sure. JD's working at a hospital as a cook. JD, be safe, my man. Please be safe. For sure. Sandy, I don't know. The problem is that Sandy says no cool entrances this year. Well, to your point, they don't have a big stage. They don't have all that accoutrement, I guess you could say. They don't have any of that stuff, right? So, I don't know. Maybe you'll be right. Maybe they'll find a way to do it. You know what I mean? WWE can surprise you sometimes, for sure. Danny's a crazy. Danny, you're in New York, and you're an ambulance worker or ambulance driver. Good God, Danny, please be safe out there, my man. Will Fast, what do? I'm a contract killer for the CIA. That's how I answer every time. So it's a mystery. Love that answer. I answered that way to someone one time. They got mad at me for saying that. Like legit mad. Like, all right, cool. Jason says they sure can't pipe in crowd noise because then people will know that I speak with nobody there. Yeah, you're right, but it's WWE, baby. We'll see what happens. The thing with Killer Cross is weird because he appeared on some MLW tapings, so they advertised him like crazy. And then I think that led WWE to say, well, I'm going to need to hold off for a bit. So now that stuff is over with MLW, presuming it is, they'll probably go now. He could have showed up at a taping. I don't know. WrestleMania taping. We'll see. What was my favorite match? Shane, that's a big one, brother. Shane, you ask good questions. The I Quit match between Magnum and Tully's up there. The match when Nikita joined Dusty in the cage for the first time against Ole and JJ and turned babyface, that was huge because of the reaction. I love that. The Rock and Roll Express taking the titles from the Russians in the steel cage, that was... or did they defend him against the Russians in the steel cage at Starrcade? I forget which one it was. That was amazing to watch. Any of the Rick versus Dusty matches, but the one at the Bash that year in the cage was excellent. Let's see. I've seen the match with Sting and Flair from the first Clash of Champions 100 times, if not more. Amazing match. I watched it live as a kid, and it was amazing. Still is. It still holds up, too, because it's Flair, and everything he did holds up. And because Sting was so freaking good, man. Let's see what else. Any of the stuff with Wahoo. Wahoo and Magnum had a good little feud. Wahoo's so good. My God, he was amazing. I keep throwing that word around, but Wahoo was just tough as nails, man. Legit tough guy, you know. NWA was where it's at. I still love that company. I got more, but you know, moving on. Earl says, I used to tell my French teacher I was going to be a sniper when I grew up. She asked what it was, and the class told her. Let's just say she didn't give me a hard time anymore. That's funny. Yeah, all right, Starrcade 83, Nate says, Harley versus Rick. Yeah, I'll agree with that. And was Lou Thez the ref in that match? Who was the ref in that match? Remind me. It was a former champion. Maybe it wasn't Thez. I can't remember now. Yeah, it was classic. Triple H versus Austin. Well, yeah, Paul, I get you, man, but he was asking about NWA. Savage versus Steamboat's WWE. I get what you're saying, though. Here's something about Savage versus Steamboat, and this might ruin it for you. Hold on to your hats. In Ric Flair's book, To Be the Man, which, by the way, is excellent, he said that Randy overproduced that match. That Randy had a ring at his house in his backyard, and that he had Ricky fly to Florida to run through the match with him, and they ran through it all week long because Randy wanted to be sure it was perfect. Now, I know what you're thinking. Who cares? They can do that. But Rick's point was, call it in the ring. It can still be perfect. Call it in the ring and make it real, more organic, and it can still be great. But for him, for Rick personally, a lot of the luster was taken off that match because he knew they'd run through it and rehearsed it essentially 100 times in 7 days, if not more. That was his point. I get his point. I see where he's coming from. It was a classic match. It is always going to be a classic match. But when you know stuff ahead of time, it's like, I don't know. Does that affect your viewpoint? Maybe not. Gene Kaniski was the ref. Holy crap, Danny. Thank you for that. Wonder if Brody, talking about Bruiser Brody, Orlando, my God, why is Bruiser Brody not Hall of Fame? For sure. Ben says, I agree WrestleMania could be rough this year, but equally they have an ability to do some really powerful stuff in the midst of the worst things. Today's big events. Ben, they can rise to the occasion. I never said that. I never said they couldn't. And I agree with you, man. If anybody could, they could. Tom Clark is on Patreon. Thank you, Sandy. It's a weird time to be asking for money, so I'm not going to plug it. But I'm on Patreon. I offer some cool content. If you're interested, if you're curious, Tom Clark's main event on Patreon. That's all I'll say about it this time. What's with the SmackDown Tag Team title match? So supposedly Miz is out, and I think Kofi might be hurt. Is that what's going on? There's a lot of weird stuff going on about that match, man. We'll have to wait and see, but I don't think Miz even works the show. That's the rumor I'm getting. I thought about getting the audio version of Under the Black Hat if it doesn't cost me an arm and a leg. I'm seriously considering doing it because I love audio. I love the podcast format, as you guys can see. It's my favorite format. I love to read. I've got a shelf full of books, man. I continue to buy more books that I don't have time to read. I got a closet full of comics. And I love to read. I do, but I love the audio format. I may end up buying the audio version. Yep, Danny said every time Flair and Steamboat wrestled was great. Flair and Steamboat, my God. How could I not talk about Flair and Steamboat? Yeah, the Holy Trilogy, the Holy Trinity of matches. 89, yeah. Classic matches, classic. I love that stuff. Those guys were perfection together. Absolute perfection, for sure. Ben says he heard Miz has some pretty bad heat. Well, he shouldn't. If he's sick, he's sick. Shouldn't have to work if you're sick, right? Elvis Martinez, Mount Rushmore of refs. WWE, WWF, ooh, God. Well, you'd have to say Tommy Young from the NWA is on there, because you didn't include NWA, but I'll include him. Thank you, Elvis, for that question. Dave Hebner, or Earl Hebner, for sure. Who's the guy that was always TNA's ref? Oh, it's Brian Hebner, right? Who else? Tim White, I would have to say, is on there for sure. I mean, it's a big one. It's a big question. I have to have a little bit more time to think about that. Didn't Randy say, okay, move? Oh, I don't know. Maybe so, yeah. Sting versus Triple H. Sting should have won that match. There's no point bringing him in to just job to Hunter. But that's WWE. That's Vince. That's Vince once again giving the middle finger to WCW and all of its fans. And to Ted Turner personally. And there's no need for it. You've already won. You don't need to keep driving the point home. But Vince is convinced that his company is the best on the planet and has been, and maybe always has been. So he has to continue to drive that point home for whatever reason he feels the need to do it. It's crazy. War Games, yeah, and that's what Blood and Guts is going to be, Scotty. AEW's Blood and Guts. They just couldn't get the War Games name. MLW already has War Games. I mean, NXT uses it, but MLW uses, or they got the copyright, but it's two separate words. One uses the two words together, one uses the two words separately, which is how they got around it. Take about Kofi winning WWE Championship. I liked Kofi winning the title. I didn't like the outcome of it. Sandy, see you next time, brother. Jason says, only reads the Bible now. Well, brother, good for you. What's up, Toby? Thanks for hanging out. I was tired of those 2-hour-long gauntlet matches on Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. Oh, I see. Sting had no problem with that, so I don't know why you're talking like that, Thomas. Yeah, I'm confused by what you guys are talking to each other. It's all good. No, yeah, okay. All right, so Jason brings up a good point. Sting had no problems losing, but you're Sting. Put yourself in Sting's shoes. Sting has no agenda. Sting's not trying to come back. He don't care about a title. Sting's not trying to become Mr. WWE. Sting's not looking at part 2 of his career. Sting's not trying to have a ride off into the sunset with a series of matches over a 12-month period. Sting agreed to one match, to my knowledge at the time. One match. What else is he going to do? I mean, I'm sure they painted a nice picture for him and stuff. And maybe in the end it won't look like that. But to me, it looks like that. It looks like, once again, Vince McMahon had to have the upper hand and the last word on WCW. But you know what? That could just be perception. Maybe that's nowhere near close to reality. I'd love to ask Sting that and say, look, cut to the chase. Just tell me straight up. Were you really okay with the end? Were you really okay? Or would you have been happy? And if you were okay, would you have been happier, and would it have made more sense if you had went over? I'd love to ask him that. Are you kidding me? I'd love to ask him that. Bill Alfonso. Yeah, it's hard to argue that. Sebastian says, not like Sting needed the win. It's not about Sting needing the win. Sting didn't need to win or lose. In terms of honoring Sting and his contributions to the business, not to WWE, but to the business as a whole, he should have got the win. Did Sting need it? No, of course he didn't need it. Could he have got it and it wouldn't have hurt anybody else? Of course. Would it have killed Triple H? The answer is no. The answer is no. Okay? It wouldn't have killed him, but it would have been nice for Sting to win the match. Winning and losing is not everything. We all get wrapped up way too much in it, and that's the truth. Whatever he agreed to is what he agreed to. But I think in terms of, my God, let's give Sting a nice send-off. Let's pay it off for the fans who support him. It means something to the fans if it means nothing to anybody else, and that's the truth. Yes, Sting was injured in the match against Seth, which he lost. No doubt about it. Miss Lopez, have a great one. Thank you so much for watching. Craig is watching Bash the Beach 98. Oh, man, you're coming up on the time, aren't you? Massive heel turn. No one's bringing it up, Jason, but the fans. Yeah, you're right. No one's bringing it up but the fans, to my knowledge. If Sting faces Taker, Sting's losing. I don't know why you'd want to see it. I don't know why anyone would want to see it at this point. Every time, and I can't say every time historically without a doubt, by God, this is the word of God, go with it and write it down because I'm right all the time. I didn't say that. But it seems to me that every time they had the opportunity to put over WCW talent, they didn't take it. They didn't put Booker T over. They didn't put Scott Steiner over. They didn't put Sting over. They didn't put who else? They didn't put DDP over. Who am I missing that they didn't put over? Can you think of anybody else? They didn't put those 4 guys over. Okay? DDP came in against Taker. He lost. Steiner, it's a big feud with Triple H. He lost. Booker with Triple H. He lost. Sting with Triple H. He lost. Who am I missing? They had opportunities to put these guys over. If Buff had not been public enemy number 1 and had a better rapport backstage and came in red hot and the fans loved him and he took off, he would have lost. I'm not a WCW guy. I never was. I never was. I watched NWA sell out, Jim Crockett sell out, and I saw what it became, and I said, ooh, right? But I'm just calling it like I see it, man. Who from that company did they put over? Give me a name. King Booker was pretty over, Sebastian, but not in the beginning. Look what happened when they brought him in. That's what I'm saying to you. When they brought him in, and he had that run against Triple H. Against Triple H. He had that run. He should have won that match. I mean, Triple H basically came out and, I mean, they made it racial. I don't care what anyone says. They made it racial. And Booker lost. It's crazy to me. I'm not saying in the end they were dead. I'm saying to begin with. I mean, The Rock looks at Booker T on live TV and says, and who are you? Wasn't it backstage or in the ring? That killed it. And when Sting saw that, Sting said, I'm not going now. Because they killed it. They had Rock disrespect him. Now, did Booker care? I don't know. You have to ask Booker. But at the same time, I'm like, dude, look what you just did. because it was more important to get that company over than it was to get talents over, no matter where the talents came from. Vince couldn't stand the idea of a WCW guy getting over one of his guys. Booker did have a great run as King Booker, but look how long it took to get there. I think I'm froze. I have issues here with the streaming, folks. If you're just listening to the show, you may not know this. But if you've ever watched the show live on Facebook, you know that we have issues happening. It is what it is. So, yeah. If I'm over, or excuse me, if the show's over, my apologies on that. But if you can't see me, chances are you can't hear me either, which sucks. So if you're just listening to the show, then you can hear me just fine. So there you go. We've been over an hour, by the way, here, folks, at this point. Usually we go for about an hour, and then we sign off. So as I clear my throat. By the way, I'm watching Vanguard 1 approach Chris Jericho in the hot tub. Chris Jericho with his leather pants on in the hot tub, which is like awesome. What an amazing visual that is. And the fact that he's just hanging out with his lace champion bandana and his bracelets and his sunglasses with his leather pants. Craziest thing ever. With a bottle of wine, like he's just out of control. Like he's living that rock star life. When we know he's got like 3 or 4 kids in the house with his wife. It's funny. It's all good. And got Vanguard 1 a little shirt. This AEW Dynamite review, courtesy of Tom Clark's Main Event. So, we'll see if I come back up here. So, if I go live again, folks, it'll be just a sign off. Anyway, for those of you out there who are listening to the show and can't watch, I got to say thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you to everyone who continues to hang out. And I want to tell everyone out there to be safe. We're in the midst of the COVID-19 thing. It has taken over our lives. It's taken over our livelihoods. It's insane. People out there are sick and they're dying, and it's a scary, scary thing, folks. And we want everybody to be safe. I would encourage everyone here listening within the sound of my voice to be safe, to stay home as much as you possibly can. Again, let's keep each other safe. Let's try to pull through this thing together. Be very patient and very aware and very understanding with the essential workers who are doing their best to service you and take care of you. Just understand that they are going home to families as well, and they're trying to be safe for their families as well. So please be sure to thank them as much as possible, and don't take them for granted, folks, because any one of those essential workers could end up sick themselves. So take that for what it's worth, and again, just do the best you can to make everybody. Let's just try to get through this thing together. I will refresh this thing and see what happens. That may have been a wrong move, but we'll see. So, yeah. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for us today here, folks. I think that's all we got. This thing is not cooperating today. It must be the signal. Something going on. The good news is that if you're still listening to this show, then you can still get this show anytime you want to. It is absolutely free on Apple Podcasts as well as Google Podcasts. It's available on iHeartRadio. It uploads on YouTube every day. Every time I publish, it uploads on YouTube. So you can feel free to listen at your convenience. Hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you liked everything about it. Please give me your comments, questions, comments, words of wisdom, as I always ask for, because you know me. That's what I do. And I think that's what I've got for you, folks. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to sign off now. And I may go back live for a few minutes just to say goodbye to everyone once again. But that's all I got for you, folks. I'm going to get out of here. And we will see you next time on Tom Clark's Main Event.